Did you evaluate it all in your autopsy, whether Mr. O'Keefe had any injuries consistent with a motor vehicle accident?
Objection.
I'll allow that.
Yes, I did examine his lower extremities. That is protocol in any case of suspected impact with a motor vehicle. So I did examine his legs, and I did not see any evidence of an impact site.
And could you elaborate to the jury what you mean by no evidence of an impact site?
Objection.
I'm going to sustain that objection.
What do you mean in your answer, no evidence of impact injuries?
Objection.
I'll allow that.
What I look for is some sort of bruise, either on the outside of the leg or bleeding on the inside after the skin is reflected in the soft tissues, or any fracture of the bones of the legs. I did not observe those things.
That was going to be my question. You did not observe any of those things, correct?
Correct.
I'd like to turn to, please, the face of the decedent in your analysis that you discussed on direct examination of that area of the decedent. You talked about ecchymosis, you recall that?
Yes.
In medical literature, there's a synonym for ecchymosis. It's sometimes referred to as raccoon eyes. Is that correct? Ecchymosis doesn't cause a laceration to an eyelid, does it?
No.
Ecchymosis does not cause a laceration to a nose, does it?
There was an abrasion on the nose, but no, the answer is no.
Correct. So ecchymosis doesn't cause a laceration to the nose. Correct?
Correct.
Did your report at all evaluate whether there was any significance of the laceration to the eyelid that you spoke about in your direct testimony?
What do you mean?
Other than just noting that there was a laceration to the eyelid, did your report at all evaluate the potential significance, if any, of that laceration to the eyelid?
I noted it and photographed it, and it was part of the totality of the blunt impact injuries that I noted on both the face and the head.
Do you believe that the laceration to the eyelid could be caused by a blunt impact injury?
A laceration, by definition, is a blunt impact injury.
Do you believe the eyelid laceration was caused by a blunt impact injury from falling backwards and hitting one's head?
Not from falling backwards and hitting one's head, but that area at some point came in contact with a blunt object or surface.
Okay, if I could follow up on that, please. So you agree that if a person falls and hits the back of their head, that they cannot sustain an eyelid injury, is that correct?
Correct.
All right. And if somebody falls backward and hits their head, they can't sustain, from that impacted back of the head, a laceration to the nose, correct?
Correct.
So if we could, Mr. Wolk, and with Your Honor's permission, publish which is already in evidence, which are depictions. Let's start out with, please, the laceration to the right eyelid. And Dr. Scordi-Bello, is this the laceration to the right eyelid that we've been talking about of Mr. O'Keefe?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And that injury could not be caused by a fall backwards and one hitting their head, correct?
No.
I'm sorry, we'll just need, and then I'm going to repeat the question. Can you state your answer again? Let me that injury to the right eyelid, that laceration, could not be caused by someone falling backwards and hitting their head, correct?
Correct.
Bear with me one moment, Your Honor. Dr. Scordi-Bello, you see what's in front of you. Can we mark this?
So, Mr. Brennan, are you objecting to that coming into evidence? Okay, so let's just put it in
Okay.
evidence.
165.
Thank you.
Yeah, Your Honor.
Yes.
Thank you. Dr. Scordi-Bello, I place before you what is in evidence now is 165. And Your Honor, may I have Mr. Wolk publish
Yes.
165? Thank you, Mr. Wolk. So, Dr. Scordi-Bello, that laceration to the right eyelid could not be caused by a fall backwards where someone hits the back of the head, correct?
Correct.
So that injury, you've called, what do you label that category? Traumatic, did you use that phraseology?
Blunt
Blunt
impact.
impact. So that's a blunt, in your opinion, that's a blunt impact injury, correct?
Correct.
So is it correct that that injury had to occur in some manner other than falling backwards and hitting one's head?
Yes.
And is that injury consistent or inconsistent with a punch?
I'll allow it.
Could be consistent.
If we could, Mr. Wolk, have the laceration to the nose. I'm sorry, hold off on a moment. Dr. Scordi-Bello, does that exhibit fairly and accurately depict the laceration to the nose of Mr. O'Keefe?
Yeah, it's an abrasion. I described it as an abrasion, as a scrape.
So you would classify that as a scrape?
Yes.
That scrape could not be caused by someone falling backwards and hitting the back of their head, could it?
Not by a single event, no.
You can take that down, Mr. Wolk. On your direct testimony, you talked about injuries to the right arm of Mr. O'Keefe. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do.
And is it correct that you, in your autopsy report, did not determine the cause of those wounds to Mr. O'Keefe's right arm?
That's correct.
With regard to what is on the screen, am I correct that you noted these injuries and these wounds to Mr. O'Keefe in your autopsy report?
Yes.
And am I correct that you noted that there was a pattern to those wounds?
Correct.
And although you noted there was a pattern to the wounds, you were not able to determine the cause of those pattern wounds. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Are those injuries consistent with a dog bite?
Based on our answer to the last question, ask something else.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Ask another question, sustain.
Can you identify any cause of those injuries that would be consistent with what is depicted on the screen?
Objection.
So, can you answer that, doctor?
I cannot.
Do you recall discussing at all on your direct examination? Well, let me ask it this way. Did you evaluate at all in your autopsy a gray hoodie sweatshirt of Mr. O'Keefe?
No, I did not.
So, were you aware that there was clothing associated with Mr. O'Keefe when he came as part of the autopsy?
He did not have any clothing that came to us. The clothing was removed at the hospital and was packaged and I believe submitted as evidence.
So the clothing of Mr. O'Keefe, a t-shirt or a hoodie, didn't make its way to you?
No?
You were unable to reach a determination as to the manner of death of Mr. O'Keefe, correct?
That is correct.
So you had doubts about the manner of death of Mr. O'Keefe, and you consider those doubts reasonable?
Object.
Sustained. Sustained.
You were not able to reach a determination as to the manner of death of Mr. O'Keefe, correct?
Correct.
And manner of death, as you've testified, includes the circumstances surrounding death in addition to the medical analysis that you performed.
Objection.
I'm sustaining it, asked and answered.
Thank you for answering my questions, Dr. Scordi-Bello.
You're welcome.